Hi, and welcome back to the Cross Training Women Weekly Live. I'm Allie, Christian health and fitness coach and the founder of Cross Training Women, where I help women transform their body and health biblically so that they can live fully and abundantly and carry out their God-given purpose. As you join, please say hello in the comments. I'd love to know who is here with me, whether you're watching live or the replay. And today I'm addressing the top 3 myths about carbs. And so before we dive in today, I'd love for you to just put in the comments negative things you believe or have heard about carbs. Are carbs bad? And if yes, why are they bad? Let me know in the comments. So I know there's kind of a lag here, but go ahead, put them in whether you're watching live or the replay, and then I'll look at them later to see if any of these match up with the myths that we're talking about today. So the first myth that I want to address is the common belief that all carbohydrates are unhealthy. Still to this day, many people, I would say the vast majority of Americans, believes that carbs are the enemies, that all carbs are bad for you, and so you should minimize them as much as possible or avoid them altogether. And this is even a message that I've heard repeated in the church when trying to encourage people to get healthier. I've heard it on Christian radio stations, I've heard it in sermons, I've read it in books. The pastors are all like, well, if you want to get healthy and lose weight, then you got to cut the carbs. And they do it in a way where it's like, we know that carbohydrates are the problem. And it just makes me cringe. Cutting out all carbohydrates is what's unhealthy, because while you are getting rid of a lot of unhealthy, highly refined processed carbohydrates like white bread and crackers, you're also cutting out the most nutritious foods on the planet. You're cutting out fruits and beans and whole grains and potatoes and corn and squash and oats, and I could go on. Those are packed with the nutrients that your body needs. And so there's a big difference between the highly refined processed carbohydrates and the unrefined whole carbohydrates. You can't even compare the two. And that's the problem. We've lumped all carbs together into one category, but the truth is not all carbs are created equal. I would 100% agree that we should cut out all the refined carbohydrates from our diet. They are not health foods by any means. When carbs are processed, the nutrients are stripped away from the food, and what's worse than that, on top of that, all the refined carbohydrates, they add in refined sugars and they add in lots of oil and salt to them. So like donuts, chips, and other pastries. And so those are all unhealthy and will lead to negative health consequences. But eating whole complex carbohydrates is what leads to a long, healthy life. Low carbohydrate diets increase your risk of all-cause mortality. If you look at the healthiest, longest living populations in the world, they all eat a high carbohydrate diet. So the proof is in the pudding. So don't fall prey to carbophobia like I once did, honestly. Eat lots of carbohydrates and only cut out the refined junk foods. Which leads me to the second myth, which I see that is in the comments over here, that carbohydrates make you fat. One of the biggest reasons people believe and live by the first myth is because they believe that all carbs make you fat, that your body readily turns sugar into fat and it just gets stored on your body. But this could not be further from the truth. Your body does not readily turn sugar into fat. That's a process called de novo lipogenesis, and the human body doesn't do that under normal circumstances since it's a very inefficient process. It costs your body energy it doesn't want to expend. And so instead, your body uses carbs, glucose for energy. That's your body's primary and preferred fuel source. And so it's going to use that for energy. And then any excess glucose, it just gets stored in your muscles and liver in the form of glycogen for just readily available energy later on, or it gets burned off as heat. But on the flip side, fat is easily stored as fat on your body. The process is very efficient. And as Dr. John McDougall often says, the fat you eat is the fat you wear. The process is so efficient that biopsies can reveal exactly what form of fat you've ingested. So whether it's from chicken or fish or oil, they will be able to tell you exactly what you're eating. So what makes carbs fattening is all the fat that's added to them. So for example, take a baked potato. Baked potatoes are naturally slimming. They are low in calories and they only contain 1% fat. So potatoes don't make you fat. It's what people pour on them that makes them fattening. It's all the cheese, the bacon, the sour cream, the butter. That's what turns a potato into a fattening food. It's not the potato itself. Or they turn potatoes into chips or fries that are just drenched in oil and deep fried. So it's not the potato itself. And the same goes for things like pizza and donuts and other pastries. Those are all labeled and considered carbs, but really just as much of the calories from those come from fat as they do from carbs. So it's not the sugar that makes those foods fattening, it's the fat that's added to them. So the fat you eat is the fat you wear. And myth number 3, the other reason people deem carbs as bad is because there's this misconception that carbs causes diabetes. Carbs are not the root cause of diabetes. Carbs are the victim. The root cause of diabetes, type 2 diabetes that is the accumulation of fat in your cells. It's called intramyocellular lipid accumulation. So intra meaning in, myo, muscle, and cellular cell. So when fat gets built up inside of the muscle cells where it doesn't belong, it blocks the cell's ability to absorb glucose from the bloodstream. And so that glucose has nowhere to go. And so it just stays in your bloodstream, leading to the high blood sugar levels. And so the thought or the theory is, not to eat any carbs because it leads to high blood sugar levels. But really the problem is that the cells have become insulin resistant from all that buildup of the adipic fat in the muscle cells. And so a low carb diet is really just a Band-Aid solution to minimize sugar fluctuation. It doesn't solve the underlying problem. In fact, it actually makes it worse because as a result, you're going to be eating more fat because you're getting rid of the carbohydrates, which just makes you more and more insulin resistant. And so to reverse the disease, diabetes, you actually have to get rid of the fat. And then once you clear the fat in your muscle cells, then your cells become insulin sensitive again, and it allows insulin to work properly. So type 2 diabetes is 100% curable with a low-fat, whole foods, plant-based diet. Type 1 diabetes, on the other hand, is not 100% curable, but a low whole foods, plant-based diet helps manage insulin use for the same reason. So it can dramatically reduce the amount of insulin that they would have to use. Plus, it also helps prevent type 1 diabetics from suffering from other illnesses and diseases like heart disease and kidney failure and blindness. So to recap, not all carbohydrates are unhealthy. Whole complex carbohydrates are extremely nutritious, and a higher carb diet is what leads to longevity. Carbs do not make you fat. They're actually naturally slimming, and they help prevent, reverse, and treat diabetes. They don't cause it. So don't fear carbs. In fact, if you want to lose weight and achieve optimal health, you should be eating lots of complex carbohydrates. And if you want to learn more about that, then I want to invite you to my free upcoming 5-day biblical body and health workshop, where I'll be teaching you how to lose weight and how to transform your body and health biblically, including how to properly nourish your body so that you can lose weight and achieve optimal health. And then on top of that, you're going to learn why your body matters to God, and you're going to learn how to become a vehicle to carry out your God-given purpose. And I'm also going to teach you the best workout program that's going to just accelerate your results. And it doesn't include the high intensity cardio workouts that most people dread. And you'll also learn how to transform your body and health and really your life according to scripture, what scripture tells us transforms our life, and how to actually sustain your results so that it's permanent, so that you can actually get off that yo-yo dieting trend for good. You don't have to do that anymore. So if you're interested in learning more about that, definitely click on the link that I'll put in the comments below. Or if you already know that you want to sign up, go ahead and click that link. Like I said, it's 100% free. It starts September 13th. So all you have to do is just go to the link and sign up. But I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you in the workshop. Bye.